And right now, Mo just has a lot of answers for this Expo. Going to have to drop some Skellies, and yes, there they come down. I was going to say he's going to have to play a little bit more defense, but he's also got such cheap responses. As you can see, he cycles Skellies after the Monk ability, and the E-Spirit, and the Archers, and they're actually still even in Elixir, as Mo gets a beautiful prediction Tesla on top of the Tesla there from Riley.
Monk
and this Monk
to pick up the Expo, yeah.
Yeah, it's just such a get-out-of-jail-free card. You could see Mo just going, all right, I can play my Tesla up high, I can, you know, cycle my EQ on the tower, and I have a way to always just completely negate this Expo.
But, you know, the same thing is it's going to be very difficult for Riley to get an Expo connection. It's going to be hard for Mo to get any meaningful hog connections here. And we're seeing the damage right now for both players is, you know, mostly Fireball and Log for Riley, mostly Reflections and Earthquakes for Mohamed. Late Tesla easily controls the hog. Mo with the lead in the final minute of gameplay, 1933 to 21:42.
I love that Riley did start cycling Fireballs so early, and then also is still trying to get Expos on the board. And now we see Mo trying to predict that Tesla. Barb Barrel actually comes down a second too early. Prediction actually too early there to actually hit the Tesla, but now a second Hog Rider comes in, and another Tesla out on the board by Riley, 1774 to 1935. Fireball obviously more damage than the EQ.
Monk in front, 20 seconds left, 1615 to 1687.
Can
Fireball
Riley
cycle
actually
one more
beat
time.
this cycle?
Mohamed not having Log here might make this an issue. Gonna get Earthquake down. Fireball in.
No?
Is it gonna touch?
Wow.
And gonna be Mo by just a hair.
Wow. I mean, that's as good as you could do it.
That's enough. The pull happens, and when the Fisherman dies, that's when Riley played the high Skeletons and then the Royal Giant to walk it back the opposite direction. And that's the sequence that I think lost Mo game number 2. And great recognition of Riley to see that Mo had made that opening, and that's why we find ourselves where we are right now.
Wow, that Berserker getting through that early. A very aggressive play. As you guys can see, 4 cards played by Mo, and already a Graveyard is one of those cards, but the Berserker is the story there, getting on top of tower. Mo decides to defend early on with Berserker, Dark Prince, and Ice Spirit against the first Hog from Riley, but man, that is a lot of damage to take that early on from a Berserker.
And met at the bridge with the Barb Barrel. And cheeky Snowball there just to get the little extra chip away. Mohamed did have the Elixir lead. Now pretty much dead even on Elixir, but damage separated by around 800.
So a little bit of a stop and stare here as looks like Mo is wanting to put some pressure in the opposite lane, knowing that he's probably already won the battle on the left-hand side if he can defend out the rest of this game. And now Riley, with a little bit of damage on the left-hand side, is forced to go to the right side here. As you can see, Mo not even going for tower damage, just opting to take everything off the board. As we just said, sure thing, safe play as opposed to playing aggressive. And that's really interesting. I think that's exactly what we're seeing. Mo already knows he has enough of a lead that he can kind of just, yeah, snowball, Ice Spirit, and then just move the conversation around the board where he wants.
Sets up Hero Dark Prince in the back. Evo Mega Knight in reply for Riley. Or in its regular form for now, but that's his Evo slot.
And with the MK cycled in the back, Mo knows he can go super aggressive here at the bridge, and a lot of damage in, those Skellies staying on the tower. And now this is the last place you want to be in against Mo Light, which is down. Oh my goodness! He just does things over and over. What a great prediction with the Dark Prince on that Magic Archer.
Magic Archer completely taken out of the conversation. It'll get some work done on the Goblin Hut, but we'll do... You know, Mo might even just ignore it on the right-hand side. Goes low hut instead. Happy to spawn those after a couple of shots.
Man, it's just crazy. We've been talking about this guy for years, and he still is just always pulling off impressive stuff.
Hog finally gets down for... I'm trying to think of how many times we've actually seen it in this game. Maybe the second time in the game.
Yeah, but Mo's back to another Goblin Hut. Perfect placement to make it so the Mega Knight doesn't get on top of the hut. Ice Spirit to freeze everything up. Furnace there to clear everything out. And basically no damage in. And I think that was maybe the third or fourth Hog Rider that's come in. Only, not really being a part of the conversation for Riley is that Hog Rider, which is unfortunate because that's his win condition.
And Mohamed, we often see Graveyard switching lanes back and forth. Mohamed has not had to at all. Has a significant lead and can just cleanly defend here.
Yeah, well, he has such a lead in the left-hand side that I think if Riley saw that Graveyard on the right-hand side, he might just straight ignore it and then just go for a full send on the left, and then Mo might actually find himself in a tough spot. So I really like, again, when you've got this much of a lead, there's no reason to be that aggressive. Mo going with the pre-poison on where he thought the Magic Archer would be. Now the Hog Rider goes through, gonna get on top of tower, but the Evo Snowball ready to go, and another Goblin Hut.
The control...
Yeah,
tremendous.
man.
45 seconds left and has not been out of the driver's seat for even a moment.
Yeah, sometimes it feels like he might be, right? It looks like, oh, wow, this is actually a pretty good push. Oh, a second Hog Rider's coming in, but Mo just has every answer ready to go. And I think because of the way that he's defending, the Lightning has become a non-factor as well.
Final 22. Lots on the board right now. This is a pretty big downhill push. Evo Snowball pulls all that back together. Can Riley break through? Hog gets picked up by a Goblin Hut, but there's so much on the board here. Dark Prince trying to hold. Snowball trying to slow. Lightning trying to clear. Hog, will it hit? It doesn't. And Mohamed Light holds on against the onslaught to win this 1 in 3. Graveyard, you now know you can get a certain amount of damage versus the former version of Graveyard. So I wonder if that impacts the current more aggressive Graveyard play at all.
Yeah, and that's a great moment for this Graveyard to come in. If you guys are wondering, well, what's with the placement of the Graveyard here? Mo is playing these Graveyards, like you saw there, a little, or this one specifically, not all of them, but this one he's playing low like that so that the skeletons will spawn basically directly on top of the tower. That's just one of the things the pros have started to learn, as Rich is talking about, with the set placement of those Graveyard Skellies. And especially moving it around is great because now your opponent doesn't know where you're going to try to get those Skellies right on tower. But as you can see, that inside skeleton right there spawns directly on the tower. That was one of the biggest problems with Graveyard before. You'd always hear pros talking about RNG and how am I supposed to defend this? Well, now there's a new layer to it where it's not random, but it's about where the placement is. And then where that placement is, you have to know exactly where those skeletons are going to spawn. So Mo able to steal some damage here and there when it might otherwise have been more difficult to get damage in. And there he is again, once again, playing it down low so those Skellies up high populate on the tower.
Sudden death overtime, and the lead gonna shift over to Mohamed Light as he gets just a little bit extra as Ian is thirsting for Elixir and forced to respond late.
Yeah, I mean, this is a tough spot for Ian to be in. I mean, he's really relying on these hero Dark Princes and obviously the minor poisons, but going in the exact same lane can be tough. It's that get on tower? It does not. Minor poison, a lot of times you do want to go same lane, but going against a fast cycle Graveyard poison deck, it can be really, really tough to keep up. Getting 100% coverage on those Skellies every single time is going to be very, very difficult.
15:06 to 17:17, entering the final 80 seconds of play in game number 1. Miner going to go to the back, but Tesla will help cover. Still damage in with the poison, and now it's Mohamed's chance to reply.
Yeah, just a straight naked Graveyard there. Ian sets the line up high with the Tesla, but Mo just goes, all right, Graveyard poison, and I am in the lead. You need to get miners on tower and your poison. I'm going to get Graveyards on tower and my poison. Ian needs something else to connect here, and that wall breaker almost does.
Graveyard in again with the poison, 44 seconds left. And consistent miners to the back here.
Yeah.
Ian has not sent a miner anywhere else for a while. We'll see if that comes into play in the final few seconds, if Ian varies position and Mo predicts back, or if Ian keeps going to that spot over and over again.
And we are neck and neck, and there you go, Rich. Great call. Mo also recognizes, I think he's trying to bait me out to go to the back first, but Mo has taken the lead by a substantial amount with only 20 seconds remaining.
17 seconds now. Graveyard in plus poison. The pace of this fast cycle graveyard deck.
Yeah, I mean, just so aggressive from Mo from the get-go. And what's great about it is that, you know, and I obviously I'd love to talk to Mo about this, but maybe recognizing the matchup, he kind of painted into a corner by going hyper-aggressive.
And you can see running back the Hero Dark Prince for Ian. So a lot of these pieces were in the previous deck.
Yeah, and Mo looking like he's going to Royal Giant.
And there you have it. Good call. A classic Royal Giant combination that we in 2019 for a content piece called Fish Go Boom, the Fisherman and the Hunter. I don't think that one caught on, Andrew.
This setup of Mo's like faraway camera it's grand. I love it. It looks awesome.
I'm trying to figure out what's happening on the right-hand side. Are those just pillows, or is there like an extra chair leaning up against the side of that couch?
Yeah, if those are pillows, I would like to feel how soft they are. But here we go. Mo goes. You know, we talk about graveyard changing. Royal Giant obviously changed a lot when the Evo RG came in. Just a lot more aggressive RGs in single elixir, and you see Mo spending just a little bit extra there on that right-hand side to make sure those fire spirits don't connect.
Evo RG in, looking to clear the Tesla. Ice
gonna
Spirit
get
to
a shot.
slow. RG might get one, yeah.
Wow! It
Gets
the
two!
second.
Unbelievable.
That's huge. Yeah, that is absolutely huge. I feel like Ian was just like, how much more do I need to spend on this RG to get it off the board? And there we go, the good game call.
And I saw someone say, call it duplicate card in the chat. This is not traditional Clash Royale League duel mode. This is a modified duel mode where you cannot repeat cards that you've won with in the best of 3. So, as you can see, only Mohamed Light currently has banned cards. Ian can still play anything he wants.
Man, that is just so demoralizing when you talk about getting that graveyard in and how perfectly... I mean, honestly, he played the graveyard on the left-hand side and it has more HP than the left-hand or the right-hand side. And now finally getting a little bit more damage in is Ian, but very, very little damage in the grand scheme of things.
Sudden death overtime for the moment. Mohamed Light with the lead, with control. And, you know, Andrew, you talked about the graveyard matchup last game. Really difficult for Ian in terms of what responses he had for graveyard, right? He had cycle cards, Dark Prince, the log, and his archers, and archers were getting poisoned off like crazy. Here, Mohamed Light can put stuff in the poison, right? Look at that Berserker, still able to defend inside the poison, and that is a key part of the defensive difference here.
That E-Spirit just not quite doing its job as those skeletons were taken off the board every single time the E-Spirit was about to jump. So we actually see a decent amount of damage coming in here for Ian, and with 80 seconds remaining, this is definitely not over yet.
Fisherman behind. The Monk gets stuck behind the Royal Giant. Not the sequence Mohamed Light wanted there.
Yeah, Ian just sends in that bar barrel to turn that Monk around, and that's really nice. But now we see this RG getting covered for by the Monk, but a second Tesla comes in. Perfect Fish Boy, and we should see one RG shot? No.
But look at the aggressive Berserker here. Bo's trying to get back to another Royal Giant, potentially. Gets the Fisherman up high. He will have enough for one more. Pressure staying on. Not really worried about Graveyard at the moment, as he knows he's forcing Ian to spend everything on defense.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see what Ian's game plan is for the next 45 seconds other than playing defense, because that is not going to do enough for him, obviously, being down as much as he is. Poison's not going to take it.
Solid defense on that sequence, 32 seconds left. Does Ian come off the mount? And he does. Oof. Not going to be enough, though, easily cleared.
Yeah, I honestly think that might be the end of the game right there. That extra little bit of elixir spent and the damage that he's down already, Mo Light can be pretty much in the driver's seat for the rest of this game. Sometimes the best defense is a good offense, and here we go. That Monk chip damage is going to be more than enough with the Fireball and the Log as we see Mo Light defending.
Ian taking a swing, hoping he can catch Mo flat-footed. Not going to happen. Fireball to pad the lead. Defense held nicely, and Mohamed Light takes a pretty clean 2-0. What do you think you put Ian on the athleticism factor amongst Clash Royale players, right? There's often been a soccer game that happens during World Finals or some other things. Ian, known for, I think he's done Ironmans. I think he's done the 100-mile. Like, the guy is an absolute monster when it comes to running. So on the athlete scale for Clash Royale players, where do you rank Ian?
Yeah, I'm really happy you reminded me about the Iron Man thing because that changes my answer. He might be number one. I don't know. It's a great question. I don't know if it translates to basketball or anything like that. So yeah, that's a good question. I feel like he's probably top 10 and probably somewhere around 6, but that's only because I haven't seen him post any sort of sports on his social media pages. What do you think he would be?
I'm trying to think of I mean, it's changed so much over the years who's actually in the mix as our Clash Royale players. We got some hype, and I don't even know if the height is really what defines the best athletes in the group.
Yeah, and right there, quite a bit of damage from Mohamed Light. Just did not have enough of a response. But yeah, I'm pretty sure he's like 6'2" or something like that, isn't he?
Oh yeah, he's pretty tall. Not quite as tall as the SK's German duo, but
yeah,
certainly a bit of a skyscraper there. So far, Mohamed Light pitching an absolute shutout through 2 minutes, has not sniffed tower damage.
And right there, Mohamed Light shows a little bit of a grimace. Not exactly sure what the play was with the Dark Prince at the bridge, but maybe the play was just trying to get the tower down to 6-1-6, because if that was the case, that was a great play. Ian finally gets the golem, double elixir, you know what to do. Put it behind King Tower and see if it can go to work.
Ian's played some golem through this tournament with mixed success. Has gone 1-2 with golem overall through last weekend and this one.
And right there, just a beautiful defense. The Evo Snowball pushing everything back, allowing the Demolisher to pop on top of the Baby Dragon. Just exactly what you're supposed to be doing.
Are you at all surprised, Josh, with both Ian and Riley going up against Mo and Mugi, respectively, and going for these really super heavy, the 3M Royal Hogs deck, now this Golem deck? Or do you think they're kind of doing what we've talked about as casters for a long time and trying to go for a matchup?
Yeah, I'm definitely a bit surprised, but at the end of the day, I love it. I think it's a great play. Sometimes you just, even if it doesn't work, you gave yourself a chance right there, though.
And then game number 2, it was Hog Cycle with Lightning for Mohamed. Ian going to a Mortar Skelly Barrel deck. And here we see Ian going Hero Dark Prince right out the open. Graveyard, a fairly quick cycle variation.
Yeah, and right there, gonna get a pretty valuable poison. He does not have a lot left, but okay, and it will force out the Ice Spirit right there. Mo Light with a slight elixir advantage. Looks like it's about 1.8. Maybe 1.7. And yeah, both players just kind of waiting it out now.
Ian hasn't run a ton of Graveyard this month. He has 2 wins with the Furnace Graveyard deck. The very fast cycle one, a 3.0 Graveyard deck. A nice little Magic Archer lineup there. And good use of the ability. And the protection on this Magic Archer is just dramatic.
Yeah, there's so many levels to this, and most importantly, he knows that Ian is going to be defending with a Tesla on top of the Royal Hogs. So you're allowed to get your Royal Hogs down to half health if it means keeping your Magic Archer alive. And it just feels like, yeah, just a very good play.
Ian putting some pressure into his strong side lane instead, as Mohamed sets up in the back. You know, one thing that you'll notice a lot, and we mentioned this a fair amount on broadcast, but compared to casual players, is how early in a sequence, you'll see professional players get their building out so that they have it ready to cycle back to it in the second half of that same battle.
Yeah, it definitely feels like Mo absolutely taught me something with cycling these Teslas. I feel like I probably tried that 1 or 2 games and then decided, nobody else is doing it. But he actually found out that cycling these Teslas like this is the way to go.
So goes opposite lane, does Mohamed as soon as the graveyard push comes in. Defends it reasonably well, but his pigs get eaten up by the Evo Tesla. As we move into sudden death overtime, slim lead for Mohamed Light. Fire Spirit's not going to get there. No, the second one does get enough to jump and turn the lead back over to Ian.
And right there, no splash of the Fire Spirit, so that Tesla is going to stay alive, get a little bit more value. Dark Prince going to the tower, and it will get a shot, and it will activate the ability. Forces out a Tesla in response from Mo Light. So great ability, getting 300 damage and forcing out the Tesla.
And you see Mo definitely not liking being put out of sequence in that way. How do you, and here we go, we see a Poison now get on to a Magic Archer finally, and it has not really been the story for a lot of this matchup. From Ian's side, he's been wanting to be able to use the Poison primarily to support that graveyard, but this Magic Archer, we've seen him snowball it, and then that's just not enough over and over again. When you're on Ian's side making these choices, are you thinking more about trying to use that Poison to get the Magic Archer off the board, or are you going to stick with business as usual?
You know, as good as Magic Archer is, it's not the scariest card in the world once it's already down on the map. A lot of it is the surprise factor and the fact that you can get, 800 damage on top of the tower just like that. So once it's already on the map, it's kind of whatever you're feeling. Sometimes you can poison, sometimes you don't need to. And right now, Ian has chosen not to use it all that often, and so far it's clearly been the right decision.
Ian now extending his lead, and this all feels like it comes back to that sequence that put Mo really out of cycle. 1267 to 210 to 2010, and now full send behind the Monk. Fireball trying to clear, does get the Furnace off. Good reflection damage off that Monk, but Mohamed might have too much to overcome here. He should be going to a Game 3, and that's going to be it. Mohamed knows it. Game 3 coming up. Mohamed, Ian in our elimination bracket.
Yeah.
Log.
Yeah, those are two good cards to start with if you're Mohamed Light. And also a third right there. Ian's going ultra quick cycle, and Mohamed Light is doing the exact same.
Nice use of the ability there to completely prevent the damage by Mohamed Light, and no lineup either. And now a big counter push coming. Valk to hold everything. And this is going to put Ian in a bit of a hole here as the drill comes to the front.
Yeah, wall breaker. Wow.
Wow.
Nice interaction from Ian right there. Showing the world what he can do. Wall breakers to defend the drill. Goblins pop, but then the Fire Spirit to protect his tower. And then hop on the goblins right there. Just very smooth move from Ian.
What do you think of Archer Queen here from Mohamed Light? We don't see very much Archer Queen at all in CRL anymore. It makes its occasional appearance. Mo's run some drill throughout this month, but Archer Queen just seems like a really interesting choice.
Yeah, I'm wondering what he exactly was expecting for that to be the case, and cannot pop the ability, and Ian's going to get 2 shots, 2 wall breakers on top of the tower. The Valk is just so good against this Archer Queen. It just always is able to target that other troop and make sure that it's targeting the Archer Queen as well. Just love it.
Mohamed does retake the lead as we go into double elixir time. 2024 to 23-11 crosswise left to right as Ian sends another barrel in, covered by the log.
little bit of a different placement with this Goblin Drill. Well-timed log, and that's going to take out the Goblins and the Fire Spirit. No damage. This Magic Archer is just so difficult for Mohamed Light to take off the board. I'm wondering if he allowed the Magic Archer to get taken off previously, just because he knows once it hits that double elixir, the triple elixir mark, it's just going to be so strong.
Drill in one more time. Big push from Ian. Cannon will prevent the big connection, but we are still razor thin, 2003 to 1972. You know, with Lightning being out, obviously it's harder to deal with the Archer Queen. You don't have the best way to take her off immediately. Maybe making the bet he wouldn't face Rocket and be able to put her in the back.
And right here, very clean defense, gets the ability down quickly enough where he takes 0 shots from the Goblins. And here we go. Rocket Cycle coming in from Mohamed Light with 133 left to go.
1601 to 1883. We're about to get in the triple elixir. And how do you feel about these two decks as we get into the final minute?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm a fan of Ian, I have to be feeling really good. I think right now he has the, I mean, not necessarily the matchup, but he's got the momentum at this exact moment, I think. But with Mohamed Light and these spells, who really knows?
Eating a little bit of damage, and a lineup for the Hero Magic Archer ability does touch the right-hand side of the tower. 50 seconds left, 15:06 to 12:04. And more Rocket Cycle.
What he's doing with these rockets is just unbelievable. It feels like it's easy for him to get them down and still be able to defend. As soon as I thought it was an advantage for Ian, Molight's showing why it's absolutely not. I mean, just 0 shots once again.
There was a miss, and now another time, so able to cover with the Fire Spirit. There was a missed Goblin with a log earlier. And now the log doesn't get the outside placement, and a Fire Spirit has to come down. Mohamed should be able to lock things up with a rocket here. Has to avoid taking a big shot, 3 seconds left, and that should be enough. Mohamed stands up a little early, doesn't matter. Mohamed Light shutting it down in game number 3. And Mo opting to go with Mortar to open up.
Skeleton Dragons are being seen all over the place. They've always been pretty decent, pretty solid, but it is incredible just how common they are right now. And after the first 4 cards, it looks like Mohamed Light has a troll deck with all skellies, all goblins, but not going to be the case. He threw some rascals in there.
I feel like the Rascal Evo will turn them into skellies or goblins.
Ooh, I like that.
Right, you kill them and they come back as skeletons?
Yep. What? There's something there, for sure.
Yeah. Donald, if you're listening, that I don't know if that's good or bad. Don't take my word on it. So a little bit of work on the right-hand side for Mohamed, as he's taken that tower down to 26-24. When you're thinking about counters for Morton in this deck to Mohamed's Skelly Barrel Mortar deck, thoughts on what Morton's got in store for him? I mean, we do have the reset available with the Zap, which will be nice if he does end up getting caught flat-footed against one of these two.
Wow. Already activating the ability, right? And
with
it was just out of range.
And you saw a little smile there from Mohamed as he knew he'd gotten that one a little bit off.
Yeah, definitely a funny interaction right here. Good fireball, going to be able to take that out fully. Floor's not going to get too much damage, but wow, that is a lot on the tower. And any sort of 0.001 second delay when it comes to those skellies on top of the tower is the difference between 300, 900, and 30,000 damage on top of your towers. It is so scary if you don't have the spell power.
And Fireball will get in to clean everything up. And you're seeing some of the challenges of playing against the Skelly Barrel Mortar deck here as Morten finally lavas up, as he's having to, play a little bit low to do a good job of controlling the mortar, but then find other ways to deal with the skeleton barrel as it comes in. And this time, the bowler was in range. Only gets one shot off before it gets eaten up. But this lava deck is just not finding a way to break through for Morten.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that lava on that last push. I think if you're going to be running this, maybe you have to be spamming it a lot more or something, but you absolutely can't be playing at the bridge. This is just a really tough matchup.
Final 75 seconds. Mohamed in firm control. And Morten gives up a mortar connection.
Yeah, he's just got to play the lava. It doesn't even mean... It's just regardless. You got to put the lava down, see if you got a chance. I don't know, at this point, it actually might be too late.
And it does feel like maybe Morten's gotten a bit more tiltable as time has gone on. I don't know if that's a fair assessment or not, but it does seem like he makes his this do a bit more to get that done today. Bowler in reply to the pigs. Nice for Morten. And the Tesla not going to be in range of that second Skelly Drag. So no shots on tower for that one, and a healthy Skelly Dragon that's going to require a response. And that's just going to be a ton of damage, and this game, too, might already be out of hand. And Mohamed gives the wow and kind of raises his hand like, what the heck's going on? He's confused. Mohamed's just sitting back. What do you think's going on? I mean, I don't even know what's going on right now. And Morten plays his bowler at the bridge. Mohamed Light is just not playing.
Did somebody repeat a card?
Oh, that's possible. Let's take a look. I'm just double checking to see if anybody repeated a card here.
Oh, Berserker. Morten.
Oh, boy. Morten repeating Berserker. Oh, my word. A points update later. He might be like 7th or 8th. Either way, still puts himself in a good position to push for the rest of the season. And maybe in a light troll here, Mohamed Light coming out with a Berserker drill deck. Hey, you can't use it again, but I sure can.
Yeah, you got to appreciate that from him. Very nice ability popped from Mohamed Light. None of the skeletons going to the tower, instead only going to the knight. And Morten takes a slight lead, and I love this deck choice from him. I think this is one of the few decks that no matter what, he can have fun with and compete with. Just put a suspicious bush in his hands and watch him go to work. I think this is a great deck for game number 3.
I wonder, looking back at that first exchange, and he's going to get the snowball forced out here, if popping the Goblin's ability might have been worth it there to make those wall breakers connect. In the first push on the left.
Yeah, that definitely could have been something.
Not much seen these days. The Evo Ghost. Or the moment where Evo Ghost was the meta of the Evos.
Evo Ghost is definitely one of those that when it's too strong, it's more destructive to the meta than certain other Evos, in my opinion. So definitely happy with how it's been balanced, because it's just a little too brutal when it's not in the proper game flow.
Morten forced to spend 2 on that evolved Archer, not happy with it. And it's hoping a negative half elixir trade out of it. Final 30 seconds of regulation time. Morten with the lead. And Mohamed, good job timing on the snowball. Doesn't get much out of it. And now Morten chooses to use the ability for the Goblins, really pushing in hard, forcing the defensive drill. And that's a push that's not going to get a lot of damage out of it, but forcing Mohamed into an awkward position.
Yeah, it's definitely something. Morten doing a great job of going opposite lane whenever he can, activating abilities whenever he needs to. Just more chip over and over and over again.
Perfect timing on the Knight ability, keeps those Skellies off of the Princess Tower. That is definitely not easy to get perfect like that. Rocket in.
This is what Mohamed Light does. He stays within range, and then all of a sudden, 4 or 5 more rockets, and then he can win. But see the frustration for him. It really feels like Morten's not only just dominated, but also will continue to dominate.
Drill force to be played on defense. Skeleton's getting tanked for on the right, so some good Skelly damage in on the right from Morten. As Wallbreakers come in behind, snowball to clear. 50 seconds left, and Morten's gap right now is enough that this rocket cycle is not going to be sufficient. And the drill being forced on defense is just rough.
Yeah, great play. He's just doing this to him over and over and over again. Suspicious push, tanked for a little bit. 14-11 to 1935. Mo needs 2 different rockets, and that's just never going to be happening.
The connection is absolutely huge for Morten. 985 picks up the drill, and that drill on the left-hand tower was the one that Mo needed to put this one within reach. He's in a drill. Does he have enough for the rocket? He does. Goblin's trying to stab. Skelly's opposite direction. Morten gets it back in game number 3, where Mohamed Light does have his second match point hog for Morten.
Yeah, I think Graveyard is just by far the best deck to use in this game number 4 for both players. So,
and a Mighty Miner. Wow. I believe that's our first Mighty Miner of the day. I'm going through all of Morten's decks played from the breadth of this monthly competition. I don't think I see a Mighty Miner anywhere.
So, technically a little bit unsure of what the final couple of cards are for Mohamed Light, but you have to assume it's probably going to be Loon, Zap, NATO maybe. No, Loon, NATO, and one other. Maybe a Baby Dragon or something like that. Morten will have very quick cycles, so you should technically be able to stop a lot of these Loons, but just like every single giant skeleton Loon deck, you only need one to actually work out for you to get a win.
And a decent expenditure on that defense. Still has a lot on the board, of course. But Morton going cannon plus Mighty Miner and ability. So both guys slow down a bit as we get closer to double. And who needs the NATO when you have the Evo Exy there? Perfect counter. So that's going to be a challenge for him here, Josh. You have a building in the bomb tower, you have NATO, and you have the Evo Exy. Obviously, Evo Exy not always in cycle, but how do you envision Morton getting tower damage here?
So he's always going to be able to outcycle the tornado eventually. And even with the bomb tower, I'm pretty sure his last card is lightning. The thing is, it's more about the defense that I'm worried about. I just think he's going to struggle so much against these just crazy pushes. And the Furnace is going to be able to stop it for this one, but I think we're going to see it get closer and closer every single time.
Death damage is a problem. Aggressive lightning out of Morton. No body to hold the Hog to the outside, so holsters on the Hog Rider push. And Mohamed Light with a lightning again, and is that giant skeleton, I think if he pulled just out of range of that cannon, enough to hold for a second. The zap in, though, might end up with a hit, and the cannon has to come out a second time for Morton to stay alive, but being put on the back foot again and again.
It's just so difficult for him to get any sort of damage. You see another cannon, but...
And the Evo cannon comes down, but that's it. And Morton calls good game as the balloon sneaks on through. Solid. So you can be playing level 11 and go out and compete and show, hey, I might not have a maxed account, but I do have max skills. Let me show it to you.
Yeah, that's actually a really, really great point that you make. And, for those of you that don't spend times in classic and grand challenges, that is a really either cheap way to play with cards that you haven't used in a classic challenge, or is a great way for you to compete against great players in a grand challenge playing with cards that you might not have unlocked as well. So just a couple of ways for you all to get into practice to play at the highest level as we were hopping into game number 1 here. Mo, bottom of your screen, Sandy, top of your screen. Sandy going very aggressive here, and Mo cleaning up this graveyard pretty cleanly with a very nice counter push.
Yeah, Sandy going really heavily into an early graveyard without the poison and support, and running into a super inexpensive defense out of Mohamed Light that's going to leave him not only well defended, but up on Elixir.
Yeah, those archers and the skeleton dragons are going to be pretty annoying to deal with as this game goes on. Looking for the high distraction there on the Dark Prince, but Mo plays it a little late. This should get on tower, though, and it does.
Yeah, Sandbox taking damage where he can get it right now. Going to still be behind on Elixir, plus the archers on board. But maybe recognizing the situation calls for some early damage when he can.
Yeah, and Mo going to get a shot out of this. It's a very small spend for a small amount of damage, but whenever you watch content from the best players in the world, 100 damage, 200 damage, any damage at all, they'll always be like, oh, that's, that was worth it, or oh, that's a good amount of damage. Even though it might feel like a small bit, over the course of 5 minutes, 200 damage over and over and over is very, very large.
And
nice.
The ability, not getting as much that maybe Mohamed would want, but a lot on the board behind it. Skeleton Dragons getting tanked for by the Monk. Poison to clean up everything at the bridge.
Yeah, that was a nice bar barrel for Mo to get on top of that Tesla. Doesn't end up getting a whole lot out of it, and it is down in damage, but it's just nice to see where his head's at.
Sudden Death on its way, lead for Sandbox now, nearly 400 HP as the Royal Hogs in their Evo form make their way to the tower and change it to a Mohamed Light lead.
And you can see Sandbox as being a little... he's playing his Teslas a lot more than you might think someone would going up against Royal Hogs, just because his cycle is so much faster than Mo's at the moment, right? Mo's got some cheap cards in there, but the cards that you're seeing on the board a lot more, like the Hut, like the Monk, like the Skeleton Dragons, it just makes it so that Sandbox can play 2 Teslas every time that he needs to, as both these guys get some good damage in on opposite sides of the board.
Fireball to clean everything up opens up the lead right now. Mohamed up by almost 400 HP.
Nice damage in again for Mo here. Even with that Ice Spirit, the Fireball, that's a substantial lead now.
And kind of trying to pick his poison, pun intended, for Sandbox as he gets the Goblin Hut off the board, but leaves the Evo Archers.
And it's tough because, Sandbox, he's gotten predicted now on that Tesla a couple times, but you know that he's trying to play it up high for a reason. And, Mo's just like, I know you're going to keep trying to do it. And so now you see him moving it over a tile, but still getting it up high. And the Barbell not having quite the same effect, but the Piggy's still getting on tower.
So, game number 1, sewn up by Mohamed Light.
Yep.
Able to keep the pressure on to engage the Tesla in the middle of the board pretty consistently, and card cycle, making it so that the champions are no longer a necessity.
One of the great changes to the game, but also kind of a sad change. You know what I mean? Like, I do think it was a necessary change, and I actually am kind of happy. Not even kind of. I am happy that is what happened. Because there was moments where 3-card cycle could just win you games, period. But in general, I know there's a lot of the highest level players that missed that 3-card cycle, especially when it was just like control, and then just destroy in the triple elixir.
Well, it made you have to play a champion, which anything that makes you have to do a thing, right? And I understand that we have to play Evos, we have to play heroes, essentially. I mean, you could mix champions in there, obviously. So you have to fill those slots. But champions being so specific at the time, it really made it so that it kind of hindered deck building to a certain degree.
So Mo going back to this balloon deck, and honestly, this time he finds himself in a better situation. Yes, there's a Tesla instead of a bomb tower, so that's going to be a little more difficult in terms of having another unit attacking your balloon. But Mother Witch not as strong as Bats, not as strong as Magic Archer in terms of defensive capabilities as well, and turning into strong offense. E-Spirit and Fireball going to be a good way to kind of stun or push back or get some quick direct damage on top of that loon. But Mo's got to be feeling just a little bit better about this.
Yeah, and I'm going to go back here and just double check the previous time he played it. And against Adriel, he played it with Tombstone Guards as opposed to this variation. And he played it with the Evo Snowball. So it was Tombstone Guards, Evo Snowball in that one versus here the Bomb Tower and the Evo Tesla. We'll see what that 8th card is when it comes up. But some pretty significant differences, and especially I think that they are giving him more defensive utility, which he didn't have in that matchup either.
And I was going to say the Zap is a nice change here as we see the Predictive Miner on top of the Tesla and the Zap coming in to retarget. So this balloon will get a shot, and it does, and the death damage. So really nice play there by Mo, using the different pieces to this deck that he didn't have in the former iteration.
It's interesting because for so long, Andrew, it was such a common play when you're playing Miner Loon to send a Loon in, then send the Miner in, retarget with the Zap, and that play kind of disappeared, especially when Loon wasn't very, very popular, wasn't very strong. And it's fun to see kind of an old school sequence come back.
This is a nice lineup with everything for the Executioner. I mean, no, he doesn't get much out of the push here, but he does just get a really, really nice cleanup at the bridge. No counter push to deal with. Balloon doesn't break on through, but the Exy is still on the board, so now Sandbox has to defend against it.
Pretty even in Elixir. Hog now behind.
Mo has
Fireball trying to clear.
You can see on Sandbox's face just going, man, how on earth am I going to break through this deck? You've got the guards and the giant skeleton for my MK. You've got the bomb tower and the NATO for my hog. And then you also the offense that you have, and that's it. That's it right there. That's game.
Yeah, Sandy knows it. Absolute clearance. Mohamed Light 3.0.
I don't know if the world's ready for it, so that's a scary thought to have.
Early Royal Hog split for Mohamed. We'll take a little bit of damage to both sides for Mugi.
Pretty interesting to split the Royal Hogs after the fireball comes down. I think maybe it just makes sense because you know your opponent is running mortar at that point, just because skeleton barrel is so infrequent otherwise. But yeah, just a little bit surprised to see him split the Royal Hogs like that.
Well, fireball certainly going to be a factor as time goes on. Mo and Mugi did not meet at World Finals last year, as Mohamed Light kind of made his way through the upper bracket, sent Sandbox down to the lower bracket where he eliminated Mugi in the second round. An early exit for Japan's biggest star in Clash Royale.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it doesn't make any sense how some of these players are so consistent with their playmaking and just the fact that, even like a bad World Finals should usually mean you get knocked out in the first round. For both Mohamed Light and Mugi, a bad World Finals making like top 4. So that's just the level these two are on.
And a little late with the pigs out of Mohamed Light. He's going to eat one shot from the mortar. It finally does turn.
Yeah, not the end of the world for Mohamed Light, but still never great. Right now, Monk getting a lot of value, getting the correct timing. Minions are going to take themselves out, and the bowler is also going to do that. Slight miss time, though. Had it been a tenth of a second later, it would have been able to get that final shot on the bowler.
25 seconds left in regulation time. Mohamed with the lead in both lanes. 20:56 left-hand side, 22:04 right-hand side. Mugi's done a little bit of work on that right-hand lane, courtesy of that mortar lock.
Activated ability once again, and right there messes up the timing once again. The first shot not getting swung back in the direction of Mugi's side, and that bar barrel sneakily takes out the entire mortar. Just a really solid bar barrel since Mugi wasn't able to protect it.
Sudden death overtime, and we've been stalemated for a couple of cycles now. And so far, it really does feel like we're in this kind of rinse-repeat situation, Josh, as Mugi plays these mortars high. Mohamed Light really not getting on the offensive very much after some of the earlier play. And now, finally, we'll see him get on the offensive. Evo mortar high. Bowler going to work on those. Fireball hits everything. Waits until after the hero or after the monk ability goes down. It feels like Mohamed's finding a lot of trouble looking for damage here in the late stages of this game.
Yeah, absolutely. But Mohamed Light does have that lead, so we're going to see if he's going to be able to hang on to it. I feel like we're able to recognize just from, earlier matches today, but a lot of it comes down to, can you get the pressure with these skeleton barrels? And I think there's a chance that Mugi isn't playing enough of them on the map. I think there's a shot that he should be just spamming those as often as he could.
Bar barrel fails to take out one of the two Evo archers. Pigs down, split. Mortar has to come high to cover, and it won't really even, it gets nothing off as it gets completely eaten alive by the pigs. Final 10 seconds. And fireballs go each direction. A tightly fought battle, a tense one in our opening game of this best of 3. Mohamed Light on top, up 1. Boogie, we'll see if Mohamed Light is running minor wall breakers or a different wall breakers variant. Bats make it feel like there's a minor in here.
Okay, and so this is the deck. Oh, yeah, we really could see a mirror match right here. Good Magic Archer in response for Mohamed Light. That's going to be one shot from the Berserker and more pressure from Mo. Defensive royal delivery coming out from Moogie.
Well, you see the good read from Mohamed Light, realizing Fire Spirit out of cycle. I can force a -1 trade with the bats. You have to play that delivery or you're in trouble. Of course, letting the recruit go all the way across the board. Same for the Berserker.
Yeah, kind of an interesting little interaction right there, but you would have actually just got like 1 or 2 extra chip shots from the miner if you used the bats to protect the miner for the first shot or 2, and then the miner would pop up because you know your opponent has to deliver. Those are the type of levels that these players are thinking on the fly. And I gotta say, I'm happy with myself that I was able to think of that.
And the ability from Moogie maybe backfiring a bit as he takes some extra damage there.
Wow.
So the one big difference here, Tesla versus Bomb Tower. Do you have a preference between these two here, Josh?
Yeah, I'm trying to think if it was from yesterday's games or last week or last month, but there was a very similar matchup to this one, and the Tesla was able to win really easily because if you're not able to protect your bomb tower even just once, it makes it so that the Magic Archers kind of go crazy on the map. And so, yeah, from what I can tell, this should be looking really good for Mohamed Light.
And of course, the Magic Archer or the Tesla able to target bats when Bomb Tower is not. Another small wrinkle in that conversation as we are 15 seconds away. And close on the King Tower activation is Moogie, but not quite. Sudden death overtime ticking in. And slight lead right now for the 3-time.
And right there, Magic Archer able to stay alive. Bomb Tower going to get placed down just in time, but definitely a very sketchy moment right there for Moogie. And he's going to activate King Tower every time, isn't he?
And that's a huge connection. Mohamed Light strengthening the lead as we get into the final 90. Moogie already down a game in dire straits.
I mean, even just every single interaction, like he's allowing these Magic Archers to die because he doesn't need to force the issue. He doesn't need to pop the ability incorrectly one time and doesn't have the elixir for this or that. It just doesn't matter. He's so calculated with every decision.
And we used to talk about that with heroes and now, or with champions and now with heroes, right? Where champions we used to worry about, hey, like, is this ability worthwhile or is it a pop every single time situation? And now we're seeing to be even more extreme with some of these hero abilities. Especially now that Magic Archer is 2 elixir rather than 1.
And right here, wow. A lot going on. I love what Moogie's doing, trying to force the issue in just some possible way.
Miner to the back, wall breakers high. They are getting tanked forward. Delivery has to come out. Magic Archer gets on the recruit, not on the Berserker. Good pickup against the Miner for Mohamed Light. 456 to 1586. Double wall protection on the left-hand side does not matter. Mohamed happy to take it. And he'll go ahead and take the win. Mohamed Light continues his lower.
I don't think I've seen it pop up in the rest of his deck pool.
And just a lick of damage in on both sides.
And he lavas up.
Yep,
And immediately right under the lava and opposite lane. Look at that. Sucks out the one really good ground response,
Yep.
and then just sends the opposite side.
So good. Now the lava's unsupported. Your units are out of sequence. You have no elixir to support, and you've taken an insane amount of damage. Wonderfully played by Mohamed Light.
And now just kind of chilling, letting himself get back to
And this
10
is
elixir.
Something that
Go
Josh
ahead.
talked about a good amount yesterday is just, you know, an unsupported lava is not that scary. It just really isn't. It's very easy to clean up. The DPS is very, very low. And, you know, he's taken an arm and a leg's worth of damage in response to that lava that did very, very little.
I mean, I can't say it enough. If you want to talk about the things that make Mohamed Light special, the processing speed, the amount of
Yeah.
RAM this kid has when it comes to identifying how a matchup is going to be won.
I know. I mean, you called it nail on the head. It was just, boom, aggressive here at the bridge, pull out your best ground response, pull out your elixir, and then, oh, by the way, you just spent 7 on that lava. I only spent a little bit on my ground troop, and now I'm going to send in piggies in opposite, and you've got nothing to deal with it other than the cheapest air support card in your Mega Minion that is now not by your Lava Hound.
Here's the challenge now, though, right? Is now that we're getting a deeper, into heavier elixir flow, Boyas, you can see, is setting up lava a little bit earlier. He knows what Mo wants to do, that he wants to go and get these piggies on this side. At some point, we might see Mohamed Light go under the Lava Hound with piggies. It depends on how much damage he takes on this tower.
And a zap going to come down. There's the Evo zap, which is never fun to spend on defense, but obviously you have to. As again, Mohamed Light and his Tesla is doing work here, not even going to drop the E-Spirit this time and just take a little bit of damage because he knows he has to address the Spirit Empress.
It's just going to be a lot harder for Mo to get damage going forward, right? And that's, I think, a big reason why that initial play was so important.
Yeah.
Is now these later stages, damage is going to be hard to come by.
Yeah, and he's going to kind of do exactly what we're seeing here, Rich, which is set up Teslas defensively, create pressure offensively on the left-hand side. That way your opponent cannot just do a huge downhill lava push. As you can see, El Mollejas is trying to control that by getting his Spirit Empress off to the right,
boy.
but now he's got nothing to deal with the ground. And Mo, once again...
I'm kind of seeing if he has something else up his sleeve at the moment, but I'm kind of hoping that he plays something that he plays poison, and that my deck works around that. Because when you look at the deck pool of El Mollejas, he really has leaned heavily on the two 4 damage spells on Fireball and Poison. And your deck picking ability becomes so much easier when you talk about, hey, my Mother Witch or my Magic Archer, all those 4 elixir cards that get taken out by it. Once they're all much harder to deal with Fireball and Poison gone, now I've got you in a corner.
And Mo going to drill, which it does just feel like is the right choice for him. Just going to something that he is also very, very good with. There's the Marcher we were talking about. So Marcher drill with Mighty Miner as a nice King Tower activation comes in for El Mollejas.
Yeah, well played indeed. Mollejas sets up with the Knight in his strong side. And that's a nice pressure, right? To suck out the goblins and then drop your graveyard.
Yeah. Poison comes out, though, in response for Mo, and now El Mollejas knows all 8 cards that he's dealing with. And another drill in for Mo, and Josh and I were saying this yesterday. The timing of Mohamed Light's snowballs are perfect. Again, look at that. Knight comes down,
Wow.
Ice Spirit comes down. Perfect snowball. Way more damage than anyone else in the world gets, and it happens every single time almost.
Graveyard gets a good little bit of chip on the right-hand side. Poison works on getting the Magic Archer off on the left-hand side.
But it's like, I'm sure El Mollejas is like, how am I down 900 damage already? It just doesn't even make any sense. Has to use the spears there to stop the Fire Spirit. Mo doing a great job of just making El Mollejas play more elixir than he wants and dropping spells where he doesn't want them. That time he was able to get both down on the tower, the GUI and the poison.
I like running the Magic Archer to the outside there, forcing, you know, if you're going to spend a spell to get it off, you're not going to get more than just the Magic Archer and the tower value.
Nice pre-cycled goblins there to clean up the graveyard and pressure on the left-hand side to make sure El Mollejas couldn't get too much on that offensive push, but the gap narrowing just a bit, 700 HP the difference, as El Mollejas going hyper-aggressive at the bridge once again. Mighty Miner plus poison, though, going to be more than enough.
He's exclusively playing that right-hand side, and Graveyard has the ability to switch lanes. And I am wondering if at some point he's going to choose to switch lanes. He'll have to be careful, of course, of not giving up Magic Archer lineups. But the ability to defend some of this and counter push.
And just always, I mean, so much
crazy.
elixir spent once again and still gets a goblin connection somehow.
That was a good night to avoid the easy lineup for the Magic Archer. Ability will do some more damage.
And 1 minute remaining, and the gap has narrowed quite a bit. Graveyard always getting stronger in triple, even this version of it. But so does Drill.
Yeah, and Evo is coming up here pretty soon.
And, you know, the one thing that we haven't been talking about, Rich, is that that snowball is not evolved.
Oh,
That is a mistake from Mohamed Light, a very rare mistake from Mohamed Light, but I'm sure he would have loved for that to be an Evo snowball instead of a regular snowball, although it is not mattering at the moment.
He's going to win this potentially without having put the Evo snowball in the Evo slot. That's bonkers.
Crazy. Absolutely crazy for that level of a mistake. I mean, that's a huge mistake. When you have snowball in your deck, in a competitive scene, and you can see Mo with a little bit of a sigh of relief, not the same celebration as we're used to seeing, even though he's still up 2-0, he just didn't have the Evo snowball, which who knows how much about yesterday, just kind of seeing the Inferno Tower start to show up, you know, here and there, and then to see it used a bit more today. Obviously, still not like the dominant building, but it has just been a little bit more necessary considering how heavy the meta has been.
And a little defensive battle ram against that hero Musk.
So Ice Spirit and Log and Monk and Inferno. And this is a great deck pick from Mo so far. You've got the Inferno. I mean, it kind of is all written out there for you. The Inferno is going to deal with the giant skeleton. It's going to be able to pull in the ram. You have the Log and the Ice Spirit for the reset. You have the Monk for the pushback. You know, the Mother Witch might be able to get some value off of Skellies or Evo Skellies, but of course he's got the Fireball for the Mother Witch. So, you know, just really nice stuff there.
Yeah, he knows Poison Fireball out as well.
And Evo Skellies. Perfect.
How many
does get a
Evo
little bit
Skellies have
damage.
we seen this weekend?
Evo Skellies? Honestly, I think it's only Mo that's run them a couple times. I'm pretty sure he ran them once yesterday. I don't know if anyone else has.
And again, he didn't Evo the Ice Spirit here, so a second game where he's not maximizing. Because he's got champions.
He's got a champion, a hero, and the Evo Skellies there. But yeah, the Evo Skellies, he's basically the only person that is still using them, you know, somewhat regularly.
Oh, and that was last game. He had the Mighty Miner in there. That's what.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah. And, you know, just to add a little bit of insult to injury, as he does take some good Royal Ghost damage on that right-hand side, is he's also got the Hero Musk. So technically the Hero Musk could also pull the Battle Ram if necessary.
So here we go,
And,
sudden death
yeah.
overtime. Fireball does get to the Mother Witch in perfect timing, as Mollejas is just a tiny bit ahead here. Not anymore. It's, you know, one of the things I think is underrated is the synergy between the Inferno Tower and the Ice Spirit.
Oh, yeah. And cycling Infernos, I mean, that's just something that Mo's always doing, is cycling his buildings, no matter apparently how expensive they are. We see it more often than not with Cannons and Teslas. He's always happy to get those out, even if he's not even working towards the Evo. And we saw him do it with Goblin Hut earlier, and he's doing it with Inferno now. And it's just something that we don't see other people do quite as comfortably as Mohamed Light.
2 shots from the Hog, and that opens up a pretty nasty gap.
And Mo just, again, lockdown defense. He's taken about the same amount of damage in both lanes, difference of 200 HP, but he's got that massive 1,000 HP lead in the bottom left-hand side. You know that there's going to be an Inferno that's going to come out again. Again, you've got that Hero Musk, its ability. And doesn't play it, though. Maybe trying to get away with a little bit too much on that right-hand side. And all of a sudden, we find ourselves in a much closer game, 962 to 882. Mo actually down a bit now, but does have the Fireball.
That's a lot of damage. The Fireball in. The Evo Skelly is trying to escape, not able to do it. This time, Battle Ram taken care of up top. Mo might go one more Hog, and he does.
Yep, Hog goes in, high Monk here to pull, which means your opponent has to defend, uses the Vines defensively, and Mo Light making things a little bit close here in this game 3, but El Mollejas runs into the force that is the goated one seat, if you will. And my goodness, was he unstoppable yesterday.
Yeah, and the year before, and then, you know, a couple years before that, and then... Yeah, you know, there's a former American player named Unstoppable. I think that maybe he branded too early and denied Mohammed the opportunity for a more accurate name.
Yeah, Unstoppable Light, his 6th account.
Yeah.
Wow, so coming out with Loon and Marcher and Miner against Mohamed Light. Looking like he's running GY. And I don't know. I don't love when Mo is playing a very strong control deck for the opponent, not for him.
Sure.
It's one of those things of just breaking through Mo Light is very difficult to do, but we'll see if he can do it right now. Goblin Hut out of the way. Poison going to come in. Furnace is there, but this balloon should get a drop, and it does.
And he has to get the late Ice Spirit on. Will take a lot of damage. Magic Archer connects, and that's a ton of work getting done early by Kimchi. And Mohamed Light opting not to play something high in the middle for the King Tower activation, which feels like that could be really impactful in the long term for this Loon battle.
100%, especially when you're talking about how tanky this deck is that Kimchi's running. You got to get through the P.E.K.K.A, you got to get through the Baby Dragon, you got to take down the Loon, you have to deal with the Miner. That King Tower activation is huge, but it's also one of those moments where Mo recognizes, man, I don't know if I can go that far down in Elixir at this moment, and ends up, as you said, opting not to activate King Tower, which does feel like a bit of a mistake, but he's Mohamed Light.
More like a missed opportunity than a mistake.
I like
right?
that.
Like he had to make the call. The opportunity was there. He couldn't take it.
And that Fire Spirit does not leap on tower, but damage already done. And now giving a little bit of poison value, and he does as this freeze comes out at the bridge. And Mohamed Light has screamed into control of this match.
P.E.K.K.A Loon freeze. I mean, we've been seeing freeze pop up a little bit today. We've seen some P.E.K.K.A Loon pop up a little bit today. This variant with the Miner mixed in does give some flexibility to Kimchi.
And this time the Goblin Hut does pull, as you should assume the Miner is going to go to the Furnace, and it does. Berserker there to help. And now Mo is double cycling Huts, but still takes death damage.
Yeah, he wasn't willing to risk that one. It felt a little bit too dicey. Here he goes, Graveyard in. Berserker trying to work on the Bomber. He'll get a little bit of damage here, take the lead.
Yeah. And he's going to get poison value as well, which I think you probably just take. And he does.
Yep.
So this is kind of
Kimchi
do or die
continuing,
right
go
now.
ahead.
Sorry, go ahead, Rich.
I was saying Kimchi continuing to set up P.E.K.K.A.s in the back and play a breakthrough game, right? Noticing that he's really putting a lot of pressure. Not a ton of great balloon responses in this deck for Mohamed.
Oof. That is a missed track of the Evo Valk, because, I mean, you have to do it to get the Evo Valk out of cycle, and there's still enough time to get another push, so it's not necessarily a missed track. It's just unfortunate how much you have to spend to get that out of cycle so that you can try to get on offense in the final minute.
And here we go, a slightly lighter weight loon push.
Nice Valkyrie. Just there to tank the baby dragon, distract the
Big
magic
lineup.
archer from the hut.
But that Magic Archer ability, huge connection on the Princess Tower. 981 to 433.
30 seconds remain.
I wonder if Kimchi starts varying minor and using it to go on the tower as opposed to on these furnaces. Freeze in. Easy control with the second hut. He'll get death damage.
Yeah,
now.
I was going to say the freeze makes the retarget come in, and the little bomb guy, the bomber Barry from the balloon, was tanking it, looked like, for a bit, but Mo Light able to seal, coupled with Hogs a lot, and there we go.
And that's going to be some pretty significant value out of those first Royal Hogs.
Yeah, Kimchi just opting to eat most of the damage, and then Mo Light doing exactly what he loves to do, which is just control the board with the Tesla. Nice and high here. Going to get that furnace to cross the bridge, take it off the board, and still be able to do some work on the right-hand side. Good call on the Magic Archer, Rich.
Well, that's one of those outplayability cards, right? And Mohamed Light has used it a lot. I think that we've seen the outplayability increase not just because of the addition of the hero ability, but people are really starting to think about the layering that happens with Magic Archer to create opportunities at the bridge, right? It's not just about getting an opportunistic moment where you drop a Magic Archer because they played one piece of defense too high, which is certainly part of it, but also the ability to use your other attacking troops to move defensive troops into position, which we saw earlier today with the Magic Archer Giant Skeleton Hog Rider deck.
Yes, exactly. The nice thing about the Hero Magic Archer and how strong it was when it first came into the game was I think it made all of us kind of take a small masterclass on how to play Magic Archer. Again, if you weren't a person that really loved it, you kind of were forced to play it in that meta. And yes, it's going to work on all of those micro interactions that you're talking about.
And me, someone who never leaves Magic Archer even when it's not as good, I was very excited for the hero ability.
I mean, just so strong. There's still moments where I'm actually surprised it's not used a little bit more, but 6 elixir being spent, a little dangerous. So nice adjustment there.
Yeah, just makes you have to think about it a bit more. It's still a great ability, but one that you just are a bit more precise with.
Tough furnace there, but a great push still from Kimchi, although he does get damage in, but at what cost? And while it felt like he might have had a good run there, it started off a little bit weird. It almost felt like Mo Light kind of baited it all out with, yes, that furnace comes out and gets sniped by the Tesla. Yeah, and this is going to be a great match between these two. This is just like, we get down to these players that are always at the end of tournaments, and there's just so much storied history between them. Unfortunately for 99.9% of them, it usually ends with them losing to Mohamed Light at some point.
Yeah, that's been the story for a lot of our players throughout the tournament, the life of this tournament. Adriel and Mo didn't end up meeting at World Finals last year. They were on different sides of the bracket and both fell in the upper bracket semis at Worlds. And then Adriel was knocked out by Sandbox, who ended up facing Mohamed Light in the lower bracket semis.
It's a pretty good pick by by Mo. I mean, we haven't seen him run, at least not on broadcast, we haven't seen him run Hero Balloon But in terms of now seeing this execution or the splash damage that can come through for the bats and for the wall breakers, the guards for the miner here, and then you don't have a ton of single target DPS to deal with the balloon. Really the thing you have to worry about the most is those Evo bats, not even the regular bats because of the snowball, but I'm sure Mo will be thinking about that and probably have his Evo snowball ready to go.
First half of our opening stanza done. And a little bit back and forth. It is, you talk about, Andrew, it's been kind of an ongoing discussion theme today, the cards making their comeback. And Balloon making a really legitimate comeback into competitive play is definitely exciting. And when you know it's going to be that the win conditions can get a little bit beyond just 3 or maybe 4 win conditions, it does make the game so much more fun to watch.
Yeah, definitely. And just being able to see Balloon coupled with something other than lava is really nice. Miner Loon is just not as popular. Like the Miner Loon Evo Musketeer version is just not as popular in CRL, but this version has become very, very strong and very much adored by the pros.
Mo's going to go ahead and go for the King Tower activation. Does get it.
And that's huge when you talk about your minor damage throughout this game. That is a devastating blow for Adriel.
Snowball to pull all that back together. Mohamed now able to get back to the tombstone and cover everything. He's going to eat a lot of minor damage, though, and that's going to give Adriel a sizable lead as we go into sudden death.
And the Berserker gets on tower too, so that is a bit of a misstep there by Mo. I think he was thinking he could get that lineup with the Xe NATO combo to get some damage on that left-hand tower. And, earlier when I was saying that the biggest thing he had to worry about was the bats, now the fact that he has the Marcher, no spell to deal with the Marcher, and the delivery, this does change the conversation of that matchup quite a bit.
And again, we're seeing, and the situation might call for it, but we're seeing some really aggressive moments out of Mohamed, which, to break through with the balloons and to take some of those here and there, catching something. NATO pulls everything together. The skeleton bomb doesn't find a target, but the loon is trying to escape. Might be just death damage, and it is.
Yeah, the little bombardier, if you will, coming out of the balloon there gives Mo a little bit of damage, but yeah, that addition of the delivery, the fast cycle to get 2 buildings down, no big building or no good way to get on top of the magic archers, and this matchup kind of flipped on a dime.
Snowball high slows things down. Loon still mostly untouched going through. The bats, though, starting to chip away at it.
And he still has the delivery, and he doesn't even need it on that side.
32 seconds left. Adriel firmly in control, getting now a lot of damage on the opposite lane.
Yeah. Evo Bats counter push for the win there. This is a big moment for Mo. Bats are in, then the high bomb tower late, so the snowball is there, but too little too late.
And delivery just does not even let the balloon get in some final touches. Death damage will not be enough. And Andrew, this is one of those interesting things about Balloon, right? We talk about Balloon is making a comeback. Balloon is having some moments, but it's
time that I think we've seen her on broadcast today, and then Mo going to, we were talking earlier about the Goblin Cage and how strong it can be.
And you were talking specifically about that, and we also mentioned that these days have their own metas. So Goblin Cage not as frequently seen earlier in the day. Now we're getting it here. I don't think, does Mo go for a second one on there? No, leaves the Hero Bar Barrel alone.
Yeah, Hero Bar Barrel just felt a little too strong before its change, and it's still a great card. It's a 2 elixir card that can still become offensive while playing defense, whereas before that was the biggest thing is like if you played it defensively anywhere on your side of the board, its role ended. It was just a non-factor on offense. So I still like the Hero Bar Barrel and where it's at.
Empress staying just a little bit alive. And now Mohamed finally clears it.
Yeah,
First
Empress just
minute, 40 seconds gone.
one of the hardest cards to get to in the game. She's got such good range, such strong HP, does so much DPS. Luckily for Mo, Mo's got the Lightning, and he's also got the Phoenix to be able to snipe it off the board.
That's going to be a connection here,
Big
and a lot of damage. Wow.
That is huge from Adriel. Now Mo Light trying to even the odds here, even up the matchup, and I think he just eats
This is
that.
gonna be a little annoying.
Yeah.
And the elixir, and this is interesting, Andrew, because you see the elixir advantage for Mohamed there, but he didn't have anything to take advantage of it with.
Yeah.
Right? He doesn't have a deck built to create a big, massive avalanche of troops. So the elixir advantage he kind of just sits on and prepares for the next exchange.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really curious to see Mo's deck kind of come together here, you know, especially as we're getting deeper into the game. You know he's going to get a little more aggressive, obviously going to have more elixir to play with. But as of right now, a rare thing for us to say that Mo's just kind of caught defending for most of this game. And now we have the double mount push, if you will, with the Ram Rider and the Dark Prince, but there's also a Piggy on the tower.
Yeah, I mean, this is feeling more and more like a done deal. And I think Mohamed knows it too. Adriel knows it. So Mohamed Light opening with Drill and Evo Mega Minion out of Adriel. So once again, kind of doing some stuff outside of the norm.
Yeah, going to the skies here. Probably going to see Lava for the first time here today. He's got the Valkyrie to deal with the drills, but, you know, you're always left wanting on the ground with these air-heavy decks, so we'll see how Adriel plays through this. And Mo Light, you know, Drill is a great deck to be able to switch and change lanes, as we see Adriel trying to defend this Drill early on with a balloon and the ability. So already a nice bit of damage done here by Mo. Wow, an incredible amount of damage done by Mo. And one of the toughest things, Rich, is a lot of times you have to take damage to build the push that you want with Adriel's deck. But when you've taken that much damage early on, that is not a very good spot to be in, because now you can't really sacrifice much tower damage, which means you have to overspend on defense, which is why Mo is going so aggressive.
Yeah, you can see he's not happy with the opening exchanges as he sets up the tombstone on defense this time around. Adriel, though, letting himself kind of sit back and reset, build some elixir, see if he can get himself into the deeper moments of this game. Valk comes out to cover.
Man, this is tough stuff. Also, this finals music is great. It's very Star Wars-esque. Shout out to John Williams.
Certainly, yeah, a little epic here for us. And just notice also how many times Mohamed has gotten the drill out versus how much less we've seen of the balloon thus far.
And finally able to lava up. Just so much, I mean, it's such cheap air defense in terms of being able to get back around to the archers.
Oh,
I figured
boy.
it was a rocket. Honestly, I know that Drill has been played with rocket more. It doesn't look like this deck normally, but in a duel mode, in a best of 5, it's going to look very different than the meta Drill rocket deck. But he has got everything. I mean, you talk about Adriel sniping Mo earlier. This is a huge...
And we do have 5 games. This is a best of 5. You see the 5 stars here, so room to run. Also, keep note that if Mohamed Light did win this game, he would have 16 cards unavailable. And Adriel just eating. He was so low on elixir.
Yeah, I mean, just a little bit of, I think, playing on tilt in the sense of, like, like he's almost trying to make up the damage he didn't get in Game 1 and Game 2, but you cannot just, you know, spend everything you've got in terms of the Dark Prince is out, then you send in the piggies. That minion horde from Mo was just completely untouched.
And in this best of 5, seeing like both these guys kind of go with some unorthodox pieces. The Evo minion horde. We don't see a ton of it.
Yeah, and you know, this is not the worst case scenario for Adriel when going up against the Evo minion horde, in the sense that he has the Skelly Drags, but he has the E-Spirit plus Evo Tesla combo. The problem is just, you know, as everything is in Clash Royale, the sequencing of being able to get that initial damage in, so the ability, if you will, pops from the Evo minion horde, and then get the damage in from the Skelly Drags or the Evo Tesla.
You know, interesting thought about this one as we are in best of 5s, and we see this more in the BO5s, but interesting to see it, especially in this modified format. You know, there might be other options to put in besides the Evo minion horde here, but Mohamed Light also recognizing that he's got 5 games to play, right? And you're going to have to go a little deeper into the pool of cards with some of your choices. And so this one would be keeping some, preserving some later options.
I don't love that predictive Tesla from Adriel, because there's no reason for Mo to play aggressive. I was actually just going to say that Mo is now in a position where he can cycle everything on the right-hand side. Actually get some good damage there, though, where he can cycle stuff on the right-hand side and then try to win this game off of just miners on the left, because if you're cycling bowlers and rascals and, you know, mortars defensively on the right-hand side, your opponent in Adriel can't really get the piggies to break on through. So that Tesla prediction at the bridge wasn't great from Adriel, but honestly, I think Mo got a little ahead of himself there with putting down that Evo Mortar behind everything on the right side.
Bar Barrel does get the bowler off the board. Dark Goblin connects for 1 on the right-hand side. Tesla comes to take care of the minion horde. And Miner will chip away, but lead still for Adriel in our sudden death overtime period, although the mortar connects.
Yeah.
And a huge error out of Adriel, as that's going to put the lead back in Mohamed's pocket.
Adriel has the lightning damage. Nice pile up at the bridge here, knowing that Adriel doesn't have the good spell power to break on through, and now the Evo Horde push comes in. I think that the minion.
Oh boy.
1 minion breaks through.
899, 327. And Adriel just really wants this fight to take place in the right-hand lane as much as he can.
And the double mortar, if you will, here. Tesla this time in the right spot to catch that, as the bowler connects on the right-hand side. Horde on the right, Miner on the left.
Adriel's just spread so thin in
Yeah.
this matchup, Andrew.
Yeah, and that's just a credit to Mo and how well he's playing this. Mo goes arrows there, doesn't need him on the tower quite yet, needs a little bit more Miner damage first. Adriel, though, gets some good damage on the left-hand side, now the lower of the 2 towers, but this is going to be very difficult to deal with. Needs to hold for that Evo Tesla, but he's got to get it down. Nope.
And just a little bit late.
Goblins out early, probably not going to be that. He goes piggies. I mean, Mo loves piggies. He's been playing them so much in both our monthly finals.
And going to get a little bit of touches here to open things up, but a lot to contend with the opposite direction. Maybe Mohamed Light saving Graveyard for one of the later rounds.
Yeah,
Once he knows
like
some more, right? Because again, keep an eye out. Mo has 16 cards he cannot play. Adriel has everything. So maybe waiting for some more matchup information if we do go to a game 4 or game 5.
Yeah, and this looks kind of like that RG Firecracker deck that we saw earlier. Unfortunately, this deck is not the greatest against piggies. It's not necessarily terrible, but not the greatest.
Yeah, you don't really see, I mean, the Firecracker and Bar Barrel notwithstanding, you're not getting much in the way of splash damage here against those pigs. We'll see what else Adriel has here, but with one of those being a win condition, as you're talking about Royal Giant as a likely culprit.
Just the damage from Mo early on just always makes it such a tough spot to be in terms of just dealing with the tempo of the game, and now gets a nice King Tower activation in. Obviously not the most impactful thing when going up against Royal Giant, but...
And I like Adriel not using the ability here, right? Go ahead and start to build up a little bit. You know that there's going to be a pig push coming in, and he's ready for it. And now he'll send it on the right-hand side.
The dominance from Mo is it's just incredible. It never gets old to watch, really. And
I will say this, that this game being Royal Hogs rather than being Royal Giant for Adriel does make that King Tower activation a little bit more impactful for Mohamed.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of one of the saving graces that you can hold on to if you're Adriel. Probably very, very, you know, I guess, yeah, I was going to say happy that he's got better ways to break through. I mean, I think the RG pileup at the bridge, when you look at what Mo's running, is tough. So piggies is one thing, but then, like you said, Rich, that King Tower activation also makes those piggies less effective.
Yeah, less effective. Not to mention delivery, Dark Prince. Just a lot of difficulties here, and it does, you know, Adriel's body language does kind of look like he knows that he's in a tough spot.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Mo and Games, he just did such a great job of covering so many different bases here. When you think about it, it's like Graveyard's covered, RG's covered, Piggies is covered. It's just a really nice deck compilation here when you're this deep into a best of 3 or best of 5, even though Adriel can still play every card in the game.
And if Mohamed Light wins this, and I've seen the chat talking about this a fair bit, if Mohamed Light does win this, he will have won all 3 major competitions so far in 2026. He will have won both of the CRLs and this Proving Grounds competition.
Yeah.
It's pretty much the dominance we've come to expect.
Yeah, and that defense is just so locked down. Adriel just throwing anything at the wall, knowing that it's probably not going to break through. You can kind of see it. I mean, even though Adriel is a pretty emotionless player, the body language is not quite there, although he is stacking up some decent damage right here, but that royal delivery at the bridge is always a great way to put a plug in it.
Yeah, I mean, you're going, hey, maybe these firecrackers will do something. Oh, yes, delivery evaporates firecrackers. Got it.
And
Lightning
there it is.
in, pigs on the tower. That's going to be it. Well, making it interesting as Mohamed's and I need to get back to one more lightning.
And Adriel not even playing cards. He knows it's over, and yep.
Answer with like about. That's how many times he's done it. It's just insane, his level of dominance.
Number 1 finishes in February and April of this year alongside winning our first monthly final last month. You see some big breaths out of Asaf. Both these guys certainly a little nervous in this situation.
Yeah, this definitely feels like one of those matchups where the opponent does not fear Mohamed Light. And so I don't really know how that makes Mohamed Light feel, if that makes him step up or just kind of indifferent to those feelings, but it's always amazing as a viewer of the esports scene to see somebody that does not care who their opponent is, that they just believe that they're just as good.
Very tight between these two so far. A little bit of shavings taken off the top right tower. Mohamed Light down to 28.04 as we pass halfway through our opening 3 minutes.
So a slight difference. I believe it's only the fact that it's Spear Goblins instead of Fire Spirits, but Spear Goblins in this deck changing a few of the interactions. something to watch out for to see what exactly gets changed because of it, though.
Aggressive push on that right-hand lane. We'll see if Asaf pops the ability or just stays on his horse, and he does. And Graveyard in for Mohamed. And a good chunk taken out with that one push. We haven't seen the Knight ability used a ton today, Josh, but we have seen it used. It's been very effective.
Yeah, super effective every single time. And it's always weird because you know your opponent is going to log, and yet it's still the right play to bring the attention. Oh my. And
that's got to be nerves.
Yeah. That is truly devastating for Asaf right there. And now he lost power.
Fireball at the bridge, Graveyard in. Log clears the support at the top. $18.74, bottom left tower to $22.62.
Light able to catch it with the Skellies. Only one shot, I believe. And Fireball going to take out the remaining bits and pieces of the Tesla. I mean, it's still technically a game, even though this just got 1,000 times harder. I don't really see the avenue. I don't see what he's supposed to do in order to win this now that we're hitting triple.
We're gonna have to go ahead and just get a couple of shots out of that minor for Asaf. Tesla goes high, picks up the mount. Final 45 seconds left. Opposite lane pressure now out of Asaf, trying to change up the conversation a little bit, not give a counter push into that same lane, away from the Tesla as well. And Graveyard in. Just a straight Graveyard poison. Spears get demolished.
Yeah. I like the idea. You don't have enough firepower anymore.
And that King Tower activation is continuing to limit the ability of Asaf to do anything meaningful. Fireball in. Mount not able to get off, and Mohamed Light takes game number one and a sip of his juice box. Getting closer to a World Finals berth.
Right there. Ooh, the late Skelly's going to be absolutely picture perfect. Bring back the Berserker. Could have been a little bit of trouble. It wouldn't have taken out the tower, but it would have gotten the tower down to about 2,000. Instead, beautiful Skellies to bring them all the way back. Oh. All right.
And a smart King Tower activation. So for the second time, an early King Tower activation for Mohamed Light. How much do you envision that impacting this matchup as we get into the late stages?
I mean, I see something very similar. The Royal Hogs are quite strong, but you're using Furnace instead of Firecracker because you need that King Tower not activated. And so the fact that he already has it this way a minute into the match just makes it so easy for Mohamed Light to overextend and be over-aggressive. He no longer has to worry about the counter push because King Tower plus Cannon stops everything. It is one of the strongest defenses, only for 3 Elixir. Asaf's in a world of hurt already.
And Asaf still holding strong, has not taken any damage yet. Of course, a lot of Clash Royale to be played in this game number 2. Mohamed Light up 1 game in this lower bracket elimination matchup, sends his Flying Piggies in. And now the connection of the mount. And the damage just piling. Asaf in a world of hurt as Josh's analysis proves true. Mo able to go in just with a devastating push.
Yeah, and he has Dark Prince on defense for these Royal Hogs. The Monk is going to provide a little bit of value, but it's just not enough. We're going to see it time and time again, especially if he keeps allowing one of these Royal Hogs to make it to the tower. That also adds up very quickly. And now, with the popped ability, it's just over. He's getting too much damage. Every single push, he can't stop it.
And this is that big gap you talk about, right? Where you think about the double win condition situation where Asaf is trying to defend against the pigs with that Goblin Hut, but then you can't defend the pigs and against the Mount with that Goblin Hut. It's just too much.
Yeah, and then also just the damage you get for even popping it is absolutely valuable. And we see it, 137 left on the Crown Tower. Asaf already kind of silently shaking his head. He's going to try one or two more things, but there's just not enough random offense. It's singularly Royal Hogs, and you just can't go down with these kind of decks.
And I wonder if Mo just... Does he go ahead and play the Lightning? Wait a second.
I think it was Asaf.
I think Asaf,
Yeah.
Asaf just spends his Lightning in the back and Maple Room in this one. We'll get best of fives in our upper bracket final, lower bracket final. This is technically the lower bracket semifinal. Everyone, as the winner of this, will face the loser of Morton and Pedro.
Right here. Okay. Stops it from making it to the tower, but the second play was a prediction on the Magic Archer? Was it a prediction? We don't even get time to relax. It's just automatically
They're out there aggressive.
making those plays.
Archers split in the back for Mohamed Light, and easy poison on the Magic Archer. And yeah, that does look like a nice little prediction play on the Magic Archer from Mohamed. Turned into a lot of damage, too, to support that graveyard.
And here we go. Another aggressive push. Snowball not going to be able to come down in time for these bats. So he still plays it, and because he's so quick with these skeletons, I guess he feels comfortable enough to just defend with the archers, and that's what he's going to do. Viper gets a little bit of chip damage, but Mohamed Light cannot be feeling bad about that. Strong start for Mo.
And just sitting back, waiting for Viper to make a call. Four elixir leaked for Mohamed here so far.
Good job at protecting the Magic Archer. And luckily, the Archer steps in front, so it's able to protect the tower. We're going to see a delivery on top, but one of those Spear Goblins is locked out on the tower, and one singular Spear Goblin can be a 450 HP swing on top of your tower, so always massive to block everything you can. Mohamed Light just slowly chipping away, doing 300 at a time, and here we go once again.
Graveyard in, delivery to hold. A lot of damage coming in, 1730. And that's going to connect. Oh, my word. Viper in a world of trouble. And the King Tower activation comes in.
We're just doing whatever he wants. We're going to see a popped ability right here, but it's not the most dangerous thing ever. We're seeing Viper shake his head because it doesn't really matter. Mohamed Light just cycling skellies beautifully, cycling archers beautifully, and then he learned it pretty quick. It doesn't really matter. You can just get aggressive with the graveyards. Don't overextend too much, and you should be fine. You should be able to get damage every single time.
And continues to stack it up. Now under 1,000 HP on the left-hand side. Minute 14 left. And you start to see that look of resignment as you see players reach this phase. We just saw that with Asaf as he got deep into game against Mohamed and kind of realized that there wasn't much he could do in the matchup.
Nice popped ability. But I'm saying all this, and he's only done 270 HP worth of damage. It shouldn't be possible. But here we are.
Final 30 seconds. Mohamed Light just has to sit back and defend. He might still put some pressure on. But everything is just completely crispy right now. And this is one of those challenges with these minor control decks, Josh. You get behind early, and they don't have the oomph. They don't have the enough firepower to often create that big swing you need late game. And we talked about this for a long time. You're playing something that is more chippy, like this minor deck. Obviously, the wall breakers are bigger. Obviously, you have
based off these 2 or 3 different cards that get cycled. So you want to protect yourself, and that's why these players are holding on.
Is this our first Musketeer today, Josh?
I think so, yeah.
Monk getting some reflection, and that reflection helping with reversing the splash damage of the Skelly Barrel, popping the Goblin Cage and getting some good damage for Mohamed Light. The Dark Prince ability will return a lot of that damage the opposite direction, 2457 to 2246. Slight elixir lead for Viper.
So it looks like Viper's trying to run Electro Giant plus NATO. Still up in the air, though. Nothing confirmed.
How do you imagine the... Go ahead, Josh.
I'm just not really sure what the last 2 cards for Mohamed Light are. Probably Earthquake and a Tower, but a little interesting setup for him.
How do you imagine the Evo Musketeer ability being used in this matchup today? Is it going to be, maybe focus on trying to get Goblin Cages broken off the board, or some other target for her ability?
Yeah, I think, honestly, I think that's a tremendous guess. I would not be shocked to see it cycle behind King Tower, trying to get that set up when you're trying to apply pressure. And then we still have to wait for his last couple cards. If Viper's running Loon, that would definitely be another card that you'd want to be using it for. Instead, just using it for the lava, not trying to get anything else.
Monk does a great job in the backside of removing the support. Musk will get Fireball, but not before taking down the Lava Hound. And Musketeer still alive, still able to give a little support here. And that's a lot of damage, 1373. Mohamed Light opening up the lead. Viper in a lot of trouble. And Viper once again going to lava. And I think we were talking about this earlier, where Vipers run a fair amount of lava, but only a 40% win rate.
Using your Fireball plus Evo Zap on a normal Musketeer, it just cannot be it. Unless it was Evo? I don't know. It's just feeling difficult for Viper.
Yeah, Musketeer in front of Monk in front of the Musketeer. Monk in deep. Dark Prince goes high, gets the Muskie off the board. Hog's going to slide through, though, and get a few shots. Might get a third. Let's see. Doesn't, as the Empress goes back to help. And looking at that heat map, there's one of those low Teslas. And a great reflection ability by the Monk. And that's just devastating for Viper. Did get some good damage in, 1662. But time is running short with 56 seconds left.
Yeah, right here. Very good usage of the ability, taking out the Brawler. And we should see most likely some hyper aggression at this exact moment. That is a great activated ability as well. Oh.
Fireball in, does clear out a lot from the board. Tesla's getting stacked now. 30 seconds left, 1397 to 739. Should see a Monk ability, or is that Monk already burned theirs? Lightning in, Hog down. Hog gets one. Hog does not get a second. The Zap able to hold. 10 seconds left, and that should be it. Mohamed Light, the lower bracket demon, continues to do what he does in the lower bracket.
And micro, depending on the matchup. So love seeing that, and love seeing these best of fives.
You know, you talk about that macro. It's interesting how much, you mentioned Graveyard. Certain macros change. We've probably talked about this too much on the broadcast, but I'll do it again because we're here watching Pedro and Mohamed Light one more time. The conventional wisdom of Graveyard back in 2019, 2020 was don't play it in single, right? It was wait until you get, at that time, again, there was no triple elixir yet. There was still only double elixir. And now, of course, we've seen it played both ways depending on the matchup, but you see a lot more early aggressive Graveyard in the modern game than you used to.
Yeah, I think it's just the evolution of just game sense in general. I think it's a lot simpler to just realize that all these players are so much better at the small things. What used to be, oh, I think this guy's at like 4 or 5 elixir, and then you look at the replay and be like, he's at 5.5, that's pretty close. Now it's like, oh, I think he's at 4 elixir, and then you look and you got the exact timing right. So it's just a lot of those things that add up for Graveyard, because you need to know very specific things in order to make Graveyard work.
Hero Dark Prince behind Princess Tower for Mohamed Light. And that's an interesting question for you, Josh. And, this, I don't know if you'll have the answer to this one or not. Typically, you're trying to build up time for that Hero Dark Prince. You throw it behind the King Tower or in that back corner. Right behind Princess Tower there, was that trying to avoid Hero Dark Prince maybe getting caught too deep for something to press up in front of it?
Wait. So what's the question?
The Dark Prince, a heavier, tankier card. It's only 4 elixir, but usually if you're cycling it, you do it back in the corner like we just saw to Mohamed Light. But the previous sequence, he put it just behind the Princess Tower. Played way higher for a cycled in the back version than normal. And I'm just curious about if you have any thoughts on that placement.
Yeah, my assumption would be, and I would have to look at it to confirm, but my assumption is that it's always due to some sort of cycle. Whether he was trying to protect his tower from miner, that could be one of the many reasons why he would do that. But yeah, I would assume it's just because he was trying to protect his tower from miner chip damage.
Pedro just broke that one wide open, 1602. Now on that left-hand tower. And as that Archer just took a half little step over, a little more damage comes in. 13-12 now as Pedro is way ahead in game 1.
We have the Rhino down the map, and it is going to get a bit of chip damage, getting the tower down to 2039, 1958. It's definitely massive damage. I mean, this is definitely massive damage. All of a sudden, Mohamed Light only down 600 HP. And look at this. I mean, still going opposite lanes, swapping lanes. It's not too late. He still has the opportunity. It's just such smart gameplay from Pedro.
Yeah, and, this is one of those things that we've talked about a lot as being part of Mohamed's game, right? Getting both lanes damaged significantly early. So in that late game, he has options, can confuse you, can make things difficult for you. And it's, you talk about the evolution of Pedro, and that's going to be another... No, the bomb tower! Last second, you have the Rhino facing the wrong way as the bomb tower barely gets in there. But, back to this talk about opposite lanes, Mohamed has been so good at making you play both lanes and getting, banking early, investing in the opposite lane early, and seeing it pay dividends late. And here we're seeing that from Pedro. And he has got that right-hand tower down to 548. and can make this conversation really happen on either side. But with that connection there, now suddenly Mohamed has both lanes going as he is back into Graveyard. And the Graveyards are coming very, very fast now. Bomb Tower trying to hold against the hero Dark Prince. And wow, we are close. 401 to 484. Graveyard in again. Magic Archer connects.
It's just constant pressure again and again and again.
Magic Archer connects, and that's going to be it. It actually has to take Mo and Pedro out of it because they got golden tickets. Sandbox, Ta, Riley, Vitor, Morton, Adriel, Kimchi, and Asaf. How much movement do you think we see in that top 8 as we go towards the back end?
I will say 2 of those players get a golden ticket, 1 player drops out, and then the rest are in the top 8.
Pretty solid call there from my co-commentator. And solid defense on the left-hand lane, but a lot of damage on the right.
It's always part of the fun, not really knowing.
And Magic Archer will get opportunistic on the Princess as she gets 1 shot. And a huge connection from Mohamed.
Yeah, Bandit able to take out the Magic Archer, so it doesn't get more value than it already got, but a strong start for Mohamed Light, and all of a sudden, Pedro's right tower down to 1381.
And interesting that Mo is, you see, we've talked about people's different grips over the years, right?
Yep.
Everyone's had different grips, and, quite famously, I think it was Carter, who used to have a problem gripping the phones we used for CRL West, where they had a curved edge and he would misclick all the time because of the way his hand held the screen. But it's interesting, everyone's ticks, where you see Mohamed constantly selecting stuff. That right hand always going, always swapping card to card, it seems, even when he's not actively playing stuff.
Yeah. There's just so much going on with all of it. Right here. Need the snowball. Mohamed Light just doing whatever he wants with this deck. This minor wall breaker is just so strong.
And if if anyone who's listening is involved in producing World Finals, hand cams. I would love to have hand cams finally for a World. Set up a GoPro pointed at their hand. I don't even care the quality. Just let us see them.
Yep. Heart rate would be great too, but not as important as hand cams.
Oh, yeah. Heart rate monitors and hand cams. Get the full tech that we've always wanted. And this game is completely in control from Mohamed. A little pressure now from Pedro, not giving up. And that's an interesting one for Mo because, we've seen him take advantage of the Princess with the Magic Archers pretty consistently. But that Princess being so low on health, it's almost not worth it.
Right here.
Ooh. Almost got the King Tower activation. Didn't happen.
It's an interesting choice to save it right there. I don't think I'll mind it. But right now, it's just so difficult for him to find any sort of avenue, any sort of opening.
It feels like Pedro has to find a way to get a cannon cart or a bandit into the second level. Yeah. Right? So far, the Goblin Barrels and the Princess is just not doing it. But he has a lot of potential for big damage with those 2 other alternatives. This might be it here on the left-hand side, though. Miner chipping away. Another Miner going to go back. No catch, I don't think. And no, that should be it. So Mohamed Light, needs to get 1 more. 5 HP remaining. Think about this just off the top of my head. I feel like we've seen Mo and Pedro kind of run similar looks at each other before, right? Where they go game by game. and they're kind of sticking to very heavy overlap. In World Finals last year, in game number 3, they both ran a Mortar Skelly barrel deck. They both ended up running Drill in that same set. They both ended up running a minor control deck in that same one. So these two guys tend to have a lot of overlap, and they end up going head-to-head on win conditions fairly often.
Yeah, I mean, this is just almost to a T, the exact same deck. Only difference being Skellies and Goblins so far, and it's pretty interesting. I would assume Skellies has the better matchup just because you need that quick cycle and you can get around to the next Hog just a little bit faster. But it's certainly interesting because the Hog plus the E-Spirit can lock up every single Skelly's defense that you try and put out. So definitely gonna have to see what happens as this game goes on.
Interesting seeing Mohamed, having played Skeletons earlier, deciding to go with this variation of Hog. Of course, we saw him play Success with a similar variant against Lava earlier. And here come the Mega Knights. I feel like you should be able to buy Mega Knight. You know, you talk about different Clash Royale merch. You know those Hulk hands?
The Hulk hands?
You're talking about, you know where you can buy buy the Incredible Hulk hands, like the foam ones to wear?
Yeah.
That we should have that for Mega Knight. It seems like that's like an absolute no-brainer.
Yes. Come on. That would be wonderful. I would buy like 4. And then yeah, I would buy 4.
Yeah, we might see. So I think the memes of Mega Knight boxing videos might get out of hand.
Which is what we want. That's what the people want.
Well-timed Electro Spirit for Pedro. Hog into the right. MK meets it. And not going to get any damage out of it.
Feel like that could have been a prime opportunity to go in, try and get the King Tower activated. Not going to be the case, though, and he's going to have the MK meet on his side, and Pedro is going to take the lead. Actually, no, just the exact same overall. Wow. Mo Light already recognizing that solely lightning is okay.
Yeah, the Naked Lightning very early for Mohamed, and they are tied crosswise 2398 to 2398. It does feel like one Hog mistake could be all the difference here, Josh.
Yeah, even something as simple as playing the E-Spirit when you don't need it can be the difference between feeling good and feeling bad. Because just right there, free King activation for Mohamed Light, and that's just something you need to be avoiding.
Slight lead for Mohamed as he got the Electro Spirit on the tower, 2071 to 2112. Will one Electro Spirit be the difference?
Yeah, I mean, all of a sudden,
Tied
this
again.
is the exact same 20 seconds left, and neither of these players are even... I don't know if you can stop this, though.
This ability is huge. Lightning in. How does it not target? How does it not target? Hog comes through, and that should be enough. I don't think this Hog can get past Evo Tesla. And Mohamed Light takes game 3.
Wow. It's easy to tell yourself, no, I'm not, but then it's easy to just be looking ahead. It's definitely up to him to figure this out, and right here going with Mortar, not super shocking, and I love this deck choice from Pedro.
And a Battle Ram connection to open. So both guys giving up big hits early on. So Pedro kind of going with what he's been all about Mohamed flexing a different look with the bridge spam. And this time Mortar will get the defense. And does it get a shot off? And it does. Very important shot.
Yeah, and right here, Pedro will need to respond. Going to be using the Goblins inside. Only one swing from the barb, so I believe Mo has to respond. Otherwise, he gets another shot, and there we go. Just every card responding because of just one or two swings on the tower, and both of these players know it's going to be close, and you can't afford anything.
Mohamed using the Hero Dark Prince in our opening game as he played that graveyard deck. And now that we're in the BO5s, we're starting to see the Hero Wizard, the Mother Witch made some other appearances, but the Hero Wizard kind of being one of the mainstays, it seems, of the 4th and 5th games.
Yeah, and right there, kind of an interesting ability usage for the Dark Prince. I don't think it's able to get as much value as it was looking for.
That's a ton of damage, and Mohamed knows it. Great fireball out of Pedro to get the Mother Witch out of the way. Evo Wizard not able to stop the bleeding. And again, though, this is what this game is right now. Both these guys just swinging for the fences, blow for blow. No mortar to stop the Evo Battle Ram that time.
Wow. And also not going to play that in time in the right piece. Evo Mortar putting in work. Oh, misses the fireball.
Misses the Wizard.
That is absolutely massive.
And just what it does to the cycle of Pedro. You don't know what he had planned cycle-wise there. Barb Barrel to get on the Mother Witch. Fireball to clear. Good sequence for Pedro. Takes the lead 854 to 1008. And looks like Mohamed's camera lost power again.
And so
And late in the game, Giant Skeleton finally makes it out.
yeah, I figured with the mini P.E.K.K.A. he was just running like a quicker cycle version. Definitely not the case though. Right here, gets the Goblin Surround. Needs a little something extra. I mean, this is just so much pressure coming in from Light.
The Mother Witch, huge problem for Pedro. Pigs in again. Mohamed Light, very close to ending this one, 230. Only direct damage is the vines. That time the fireball doesn't miss. You have to wonder how much that fireball being missed on the Wizard earlier impacted this game, though.
Yep. It's definitely a very good chance it was like after this month is over.
I think this is updated, yeah.
Okay.
I think this is updated. We'll confirm, but I believe it is. OP Sam currently in 14th. So, yeah, a lot of teams OGs in the mix this year. Of course, Sam made a World Finals appearance last year.
And right here, just minor wall breakers. He just cannot be stopped with it. I feel like Pedro was definitely looking for something with this deck setup. It's a little bit different than what we're used to seeing. And that is a lot of elixir to spend. I'm surprised he's able to do so, and the bowler gets one more shot. So really solid offense on Pedro's side. Mohamed Light just trying to get comfortable with one of his best decks.
We've seen a fair amount of spears today, Josh. You were commenting on it being the damage that it does, but not being as popular these days. But as the day has gone on, they've been making more and more appearances.
Yeah, and I wonder why that is. You got to assume a lot of it's... I mean, I'm guessing a lot of it is just a collection of bats and even cards like Berserker where it will be able to defend that. But man, this is a little bit scary. Pedro doesn't really seem to have a lot of answers right now.
In trouble early is Pedro. And Mohamed Light, despite giving up a bowler basketball shot earlier on, has mostly been controlling it well. And, you know, Josh, there was a time when minor bats was something you saw a ton of. And minor bats, you know, as a solo push, again, one of those things that fell out of favor for a while, but we're seeing it used a lot today, but especially specifically, we're seeing Mohamed Light use minor bats a lot today.
Yeah, absolutely. And minor bats are always, it's such a classic, and I don't know, I think it's one of the easier decks to run where it still takes a ton of skill involved, making sure that this card is out of the cycle and this card is an Evo, this card isn't. It's always fun when minor bats are in the meta.
Mohamed Light doing a great job of consistently forcing out a high response to the wall breakers and then backing it up with the Magic Archer for a lineup. And the damage on the right-hand tower telling the story. 895 as Mohamed has forced the Berserker in particular up high over and over again.
Really nice prediction right there with the Fire Spirit and getting a little bit of potential. Not gonna be the case. Defensive bowler on the left side, and the bowler does not want to go bowling. And now you have to worry about this. I mean, he's just dominating so far.
Having to use your Evo Fireball or your Evo Snowball to break up a Magic Archer at the bridge is definitely not ideal. And Magic Archers line up there, and Pedro just has to. Early Tesla set up high.
I would already be nervous if I saw Mo Light put down the Tesla. Pedro could be running an interesting version of RG. I don't mind the synergy between Xe and Demolisher, and I think it's pretty clear at this point that he's probably going to be running Drill. So that's the answer that I would lean on.
And big connection. MK out for Pedro, so pretty hefty deck with the MK Xe combo. And Ram Rider comes out behind. Stymied at the bridge a little bit. Ice Spirit slows it down. But that Ram Rider threatening an escape and will force Mohamed Light to respond. About an elixir and a quarter advantage for Mohamed, plus damage dealt as we inch closer to double elixir time. And Mohamed, you know, has some thick pieces in here. When you take a look at the Hero Dark Prince, take a look at the Furnace. But with just how big Pedro's deck is, with the Xe, with the MK, with the Ram Rider, do you envision him having the advantage as we get deeper into double and then triple?
Yeah, I don't know. A lot of it depends on the final card for Pedro, but these Golden Knights, these Ram Riders, they should be getting value. I don't know. Everything is so hard to predict, where it's like, well, everything I've ever seen before would tell me this, and then Mo Light tells me another thing. So I would assume that Pedro has the matchup just based off the expense of all these cards, but I'll believe it when I see it.
Xe going to work on the Furnace. Mohamed switching lanes back and forth pretty early. Now Graveyard in. And Golden Knight is dashing everywhere.
Yeah. Going up, going down, all around. And man, these Teslas just provide so much value every time. Every single time.
Thinking about these graveyard counters, right, or the graveyard defenses for Pedro, right? Zap and arrows can clear as graveyard builds up, but they can't really help you early. Ram Rider can do a little bit of work. Golden Knight. It feels like, though, there's going to be at least a little bit of damage every time here for Mohamed.
Yeah, it definitely looks that way. And wow!
Big jump. And Mohamed Light, with the bar barrel, able to prevent the connection, maintain his lead, 21-63 to 18-15.
Just so unfortunate for the Dark Prince to be crossing the bridge, allowing the Mega Knight to jump onto the Tesla. I mean, everything went wrong, and then he still defended for 0 damage taken.
And Ram Rider fighting her way to the middle, getting completely shredded as it happens. Tesla stays up and untouched through all of it. Ice Spirit jumps, a little more chip damage, 33 seconds left. Pedro needs one good push. Has not found it yet.
Only Zap, only arrows. Mohamed Light just needs to defend, blocking at the bridge, not trying to allow the Golden Knight to get value. I wouldn't mind seeing a defensive poison.
And a second Tesla comes down to protect the Evo Tesla. Poison comes out to try to widen the gap. Dark Prince high to prevent a Golden Knight dash. And 2 up, 2 down. Mohamed Light 1 win away from being...
And because of that, he's going to be on the opposite side of bracket, and somebody else can deal with it. If there's one thing you get to think about, that's what you get to think about if you're Pedro.
That's huge, right? Finding yourself not in the firing line as time goes on. And the Monk just protects that Musketeer at the last second. And bumps the Hog away. What else can go wrong for Pedro in this match?
I mean, you know for a fact that he knew for a fact that would work. It wasn't luck. It wasn't just, how did this happen? There was no reaction from him. It's just, that's what happened.
A lot on the tower. And look at the placement that Mohamed went for with the Musketeer, making sure that it would not target that Monk. Knew he had to eat damage to prevent damage. So very smart Musketeer play to avoid that reflection and limit the damage here. Now a little less than 300 HP separating them in the same lane. Pedro has put himself back in to legitimate side-by-side contention. They're pretty even on Elixir and not far off on damage.
So we definitely have to look out for the spells and see what's going to be happening with that. It's a good ability. Wow.
And, you know, you talk about things that really change the conventional wisdom. Snowball missing the Monk in a rare little misstep there from Mohamed. You talk about things that change the conventional wisdom. How many people really play Hog Rider behind Princess Tower? Play it in the back like that. And you saw Mo playing Hog Rider almost like the way you play a Royal Giant. Right? Play the first one in the back, play the second one at the bridge.
Yeah, I don't know. It's pretty insane to think about.
675. That's all that separates Mohamed Light from winning our May monthly final. Lightning. Hog gets a hit. What do you want? What are you looking for? Who can do it? The answer is very limited.
Yeah, we'll let you know.
And Mohamed already cheering for it. absolutely pumped. And it never ends. He's never stops being pumped about it.
Yeah.
Right? And that right there, that's what you're talking about. You know, you want to talk about how are you still doing this? How many monthly finals? I actually don't off the top of my head know how many monthly finals he's won. It's an absurd number.